Thanks, Thierry. Excited to be here. Hello, everyone. Especially excited because I know that we have at least 10 members of the Kata community attending here. And I've been working with those guys for over 4 years and seeing them face-to-face today the first time. All the hard work over the last years led to my talk, which is Trusted AI Everywhere with Kata and confidential containers at scale. You may be asking yourself, why are we doing this, right? Everyone today with a credit card can train their model, can fine-tune their model, can run RAG pipelines on public data. The real challenge here is, right, doing those AI pipelines on confidential data and as well on how to protect them and how to protect model leakage, the result of such pipelines. How do you protect your model, right? Recent Google study showed that 66% of companies still have more than 50% of their data unused because there are trust gaps, and IP leakage of those foundational models is an existential risk for such companies. One other big component is you want to run those AI pipelines at scale, right? Enterprises are only interested, or matters for enterprises is that you can run those pipelines at scale, and scale is spelled GPU. If you look at the major AI players today, they're running on hundreds of nodes and thousands of GPUs. So how are we doing this? We essentially have 3 security pillars. On the left side, we see cryptographic compute, things like homomorphic encryption, zero-knowledge proofs. They are powerful, but they are niche. And most of the time, they are running 1,000 times slower for deep learning or any other AI tasks. In the middle pillar, we have sandbox environments, things like Firecracker, gvisor, Nabla containers. Those are reducing the blast radius, but we still have a lot of trust on the host and the infrastructure. And our threat model with confidential compute is that we do not trust the infrastructure. So we're doing this about that. Our right pillar is where we are meeting the trusted execution environments. SGX started it, but it's process-based. This does not work for the GPU. So we have VM-based solution like SMP and TDX. And the trust is then extended to the GPU with the Hopper GPUs that have CC support. And then again, in the future, CCA extending this trust to edge deployments. We have the GPU. Now we need a software, and software is Kata containers and confidential containers, which enables us a lift and shift strategy for moving your containers from your old Kubernetes deployment into a confidential context without any modification of the code. Kubernetes is the lingua franca for most of the AI deployments, is the platform of choice. So we're doing a lot of work in the Kubernetes space, in the complete stack, working on the kubelet, on all the runtimes like containerd cryo, having patches, having enhancement proposals to enable our Kata and confidential container stack properly in the Kubernetes ecosystem. Things like DRA, which is now a buzzword in Kubernetes to allocate resources more fine granular. Things like the runtime classes that you defined with one annotation, the pod, you can run your container workload either on bare metal, Kata container, or confidential container. Things like peer pods, where you can run confidential containers on-prem and burst out to the cloud, enabling hybrid cloud for confidential containers. We are rustifying the complete stack, right? All our components written in a memory-safe language. And last but not least, we have the NVIDIA GPU operator that we are using for all Kubernetes deployments, meaning we have one tool for deployment, be it bare metal, be it Kata containers or confidential containers. So it's one interface that we are using for deploying all those environments. It's really a lift and shift for your pipeline also in Kubernetes, not for the container, but your pipelines in Kubernetes. right? For confidential container, you get the attested VM, attested workload, and you want to run it everywhere. And we are working on different deployment models, right? Current focus is on-prem, but we are also working on having proper support for public VM as a service, private cloud VM as a service, and of course, edge and factory. So the same image, same attestation, different postcodes, right? Run it anywhere. Run your attested infrastructure as a service with confidential containers on any deployment. We started with Hopper. Hopper had support for single GPU pass-through for confidential compute, extending this support for Blackwell, which is the current generation of GPUs that supports multi-GPU pass-through, right? And extending this support for multi-GPU and multi-node workloads, where we're running it on hundreds of nodes and thousands of GPUs. The lower half shows the GPUs that are supporting bounce buffers, but since Blackwell, we have also support for TDISP, which increases the performance significantly, and all future generations will have support for TDISP. Essentially, the hardware is baked. The race shifts now to software, standards, and ops. And having the hardware, having the software, from the community's point of view, our call to action is test what you have right now, deploy it, come with your use cases. We are running a simple rec pipeline in our CI. If you want to reach us, we have the Kata Slack channel, we have the CNCF Slack channels. You have my email here and my handles if you want to have discussions in private before exposing your use cases. Test it, contribute it, deploy it. I also have a breakout session on Sunday around noon, going into more details about confidential containers, so join me there if you want. And which brings me to my last slide. And I want to thank the Kata community and the Open Infra Summit for talking here, and especially our friends and Ant Group who are doing an amazing job helping us to get here where we are right now. Thank you so much.